मैम रेडी रहजो हाँ।
Is it start?
यस सर।
Okay. So, uh, dear participant, today we are going to see Python, right? The Python is a very popular language, as well as and nowadays we are having lots of data available, and over the data we can perform the data analytics, and that is the very significant work which we can do, right? And Python perform very well in this because the Python having the very rich library for performing that part. So you might be aware with the other terms like the big data we know, right? As I know before it. So big data having the different means the data, use data, right? And over the use data we perform the what different analysis and we come out with some meaningful information, right? So after by exploring means in 2000 after 2008 the Python was become very popular, and the reach the libraries, and that's the very big advantage of the Python is what the open source. You don't need to be have purchase any libraries, right? But everything that all the libraries are available, and nowadays if we talk, so there are thousands of libraries are available, right? Thousands of, because it's a very big community, and all coders are sharing their work in form of the libraries. So people are making libraries, right? Very simple, and that library you can integrate with any of the programming part. So Python is now very popular, right? Use the Python for not only the backend part, not only the business logic. We use the Python for front end as well as. So if we talk about the front end part, so there is a suppose we know the Java, HTML, CSS, some PHP, Perl, Ruby, right? So means AW, Microsoft.NET, different front end programming, server side scripting languages are available, right? And again, the Python also doing well in this. If you see the Google, Gmail, Yahoo Mail, these all are the dynamic websites, right? And they use the whenever we are performing any searching part, so Python is used, right? Because the results are very fast compared to other languages. They're having lot of, because of the rich library, the very rich features, I can say. The automatic garbage collection they perform, these all are about the objects, right? Uh, so now, what is the today discussion, right? So I have prepared the few exercise, right? With that exercise, we will continue. For directly jump into that exercise, uh, you need a basic Python at least. So if I ask, you just have to be covered the basic Python, right? So you have to be uh, compile the few basic fundamental of Python programming, uh, and then you can jump easily. But anyway, and that part is not that much difficult because that language is very simple, right? It's if you learn the Python programming very initially, right, before C, C++, Java, and other languages. So you will never learn the other languages because the Python is very simple compared to. There is no curly braces. There no need to be put the semicolon somewhere, right? And the syntax wise is also very simple. A lot of things will be get compressed into the one. Means what the the whole things will be compressed into the function. So it's quite a simple one, right? So that's why. So so whenever we discuss any basic fundamental of the programming languages, so we first come into the what data types, as C and C++, Java and other. So similarly in Python, we are also having some basic data types we call as a what list, similar like array. So in other languages we are having array, but Python offer as a list, and that list is the combination of all. Means all in the sense what the stack, queue, linked list, right? So that's a complete stack kind of, means complete index type of data. So you don't need to be what go any other data type, and that list is very powerful. And almost in all the data analysis, the today we are going to see that library as well as we call it the pandas. So that pandas will contain the data into the what list form. So once we scrap once we will pass the data, so that data will be stored into it. That's all about the what list. So list is the one, dictionary is the another one, another data type, set, tuple, string, and number. So these are the few basic data types we generally use in Python. Right. So I think we should check the one basic of the Python. So let me move to that exercise first. Otherwise, you will be having trouble to get. You can see the once I will set up the so then the screen will be visible to you, right? So don't worry about it. Mm,
Yes, sir, it is visible.
yeah. Okay, okay, okay. So once it will be loaded, so let me just recall the basic fundamental of the Python. Then I will move to the what the exercise which I have designed because it's needed that part. So please just watch it properly and listen me all the words. So it would be beneficial. Is it visible? The screen, the beginning of Python.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, there are few things is written about the Python. You can see, and the author of the Python, the developer who has created the Python programming language, the author is what Guido van Rossum. I think we should be thankful. So giving that much powerful language, right? And nowadays it's having in boom. So Python is not only used for the backend; it's also used in front end, web applications, GUI applications, financial calculation is data analysis, visualization. So these all are the what areas where we can use the Python programming language. So few questions you might have. Python is the interpreter language because other programming languages we call as a compiled language, compiler. So C is a compiled language, Java is also compiled language, and Python is what interpreter language. So means what you can execute line, you can execute your code in line by line. So that is what the meaning. So what is the good thing inside? Because interpreter language will help us to test your code. So basically, we can say that's a trial and error kind of. Suppose you don't know whether this line will work or not work. In Python, you can test it very easily. But in other programming language, you cannot because that's the whole code will be get compiled and you will get the answer. But in Python, you can test the specific line. So that's the interpreter language. The dynamic type means everything is what in Python is a object, right? So that's a dynamically. Suppose dynamically again another example. Suppose I read I in other languages what we do int x equals to 5. So x is the type of integer and we store 5 into the x, right? But here if you write x equals to 5, then automatically x will be become as an integer type because it's a dynamically type. And again in the second line, if you write x equals to single quote hello or double quote hello, so now that x will become automatically what? String type. So that we call as a what? Dynamically typed. We have to write less code, right? And we can perform the bigger task. Python is what used by every company, every, if you call the um, big companies, right? Like Google, as well as Google using for searching purpose. So all are using the word Python, and that's having a very rich library because of. So see now, let's execute the following line. So you will get the idea about how exactly Python works. So what I'm using here, let me give you the introduction of the tool which I'm using here. So that is we call as a Jupyter notebook, right? And you can use any latest version of Python as well as for executing the your code. Uh, I'm using that particular tool because it provides a good documentation, right? I'm using Python 3 version, right? It's a latest version 3.8.2. You can use any older one version as well as. So once we will move to the what bigger exercise, maybe it's in your experience. So you have to be used, you have to be get the certain limitation of the older version, and then you will move to the what the higher version like that. So right now I'm using Python 3. It's a Jupyter notebook. We call it a Jupyter notebook, right? Similarly, that's the offline mode. You can go to the online mode. The Google provide Google Colab. So that also you can use, and that Colab will store your work into your drive. So from anywhere you can access your work, right? So that is the Jupyter notebook, right? So these are the following options are available with putting that one. So it will insert new cell. So this is like a cell, right? This is the one cell. So that we call as an interpreter. So one line will get interpreted and output will be occur like that, right? You can cut the cell, you can copy the selected cell, you can up and down the cell sequence. This is the execution of the code, right? It will run the code and whole work will be saved in your folder, right? I hope it is clear. So if you once you will experience that tool, so automatically you will be having the complete idea about it. So that's a very handy tool, right? As I can say. So use it. So you will have a good experience about it. So now see here. So the very first, the interpreter. IN means interpreter. One with the first interpreter. I just thought you are familiar with the print statement. I hope in C and C++ we use the same syntax, the print function. So similarly, there is a print function inside a parenthesis in a single quote or maybe in a double quote. We have to write down the what is string over here. So this is the string, and then the same string will be what get printed over here, right? So means what the one line we return, and similarly the one line will get executed. After the executions, it will give the what the code. So similarly, we know whatever we write in the print statement, it will be get printed. There is no need of the semicolon, right? There is no semicolon. There is no curly braces. So that is the see. If I again print another, so you can have multiple because again these are dynamic. We are not storing that somewhere, right? Now see the third. So here I have three different types of variables as we know data types, the integer, float, double, character, string. So these are the what different data types, you know. Here you can see a equals to 100, the integer type, B is what Python is a grade, C equals to 3.141414 like that. So this is the what the different data types. So I don't need to be mentioned that E is an integer type, B is a string type, and C is the what the float type. That will be what automatically recognized by the Python. So once you will execute it, so you can see here, जैसे हमने इसको execute किया, so now 100 will be stored into the A, Python is great will be stored into the B, and C 3.14 is stored into the what C. Now let's print it. So for the printing, you can directly A भी लिख सकते हैं, or maybe you can write inside a print A, so it will work. If you check the type, now check the type of A. So type is the inbuilt function. So whatever the object, now A is the object here, right? So in Python, everything is object. There is no data type. Everything is object. Okay. You can say the Python is what fully object-oriented programming language kind of. But it's not required. Always you have to put all the code into the class and object form. No, there is no any kind of restriction. Right? But everything will be behave like an object. So a become a object of integer type. So type is the function which will tell the type. Right. So once you execute, you can see the type of a is what integer. Very simple.
Sir, sir, this screen is
जी हाँ,
not visible.
मैं वही तो बोल रहा था आपको ये विजिबल है या नहीं. एक मिनट. ओके.
No, sir.
एक मिनट में आवाज में करता हूँ. देखो अब विजिबल होगा. ओके.
Yes, sir.
ओके. See, let me again revise what I explained. मैंने वही सोचा कि शायद मेरे इसमें फ्रीज हो गया है, so it is not visible. Okay, now it is visible. See, the first we are going to see the Python basics. So the Guido van Rossum is the developer creator of the Python programming language. So the Python come out in the market before Java, but it's get popular in last few years in 2008 and after it, so it's become very popular. Right nowadays, we are using the Python because of its rich library. Okay, and the Python is not for only the backend, not for only the business logic. So we use the Python for front end development. So today we have a Django framework, Flask framework. That framework we use to design the GUI. That framework we use to design the web application. We have a GUI development
Sir,
kit
it's fine
with
if you
Python.
don't repeat it. Sir, it's fine if you don't repeat it. Skip the
Okay,
portion what you have completed.
okay, fine. So I was here similar. So I store the three variables, right? In other languages we call as a variable. So here is it's an object. So there are three objects A, B, C. It's created with a different data type. So now in Python, every time what happens? Suppose I am writing the script, and the script length is 1,000 line of code. And at somewhere I use some object. I store some value into that object, right? And that is not defined, right? A suppose at very first um, you mention A, means you had just described the A. So A is a type of object containing the integer. And after the few line of the code, suppose after the 50 line of code, you store some string into the A. So now A will be converted into the what string. Now it's no more as a what integer type, and that holding the integer. So the all data will get lost. The point is what A equals to 100, and after I will store A equals to hello. So now 100 will go. So because it's a dynamically object, so first it is storing the integer. Second, it can store the what string as well as. So thing is what we need the type. What is the type of the A? That type of function we require in a Python to check the type of the what object. So it will tell the A is a type of integer. So now you don't need to be store the what string into the A. You have to be store it into the what integer. Otherwise, what the type the value will lost. The data will get lost. That is what simple meaning. If I execute this, so in Jupyter you can type A, then also it will get print the value of A, or print function with A also will print the what value of A. Now see the next. Let's define the three that let's just initialize three variables, right? Or in this case we call as an object. A equal to B equals to C equals to 1,000. So all A, B, and C will contain what the similar. So that type of assignment is not possible in other programming language, right? If you try this in C programming, it will not work. But in Python, we can do the similar same value we can assign to the multiple objects. So that is what meaning. If you print ABC, so let me execute this one. Okay, now print ABC. Now you can see A, B, and C. All three values are what 1000, 1000 and 1000, right? Similarly, suppose in a one line, if I want to assign a different values, right? Maybe suppose similar values are possible. In a C also we can do the similar assignment, but different is not possible. You have to initialize all variable differently and initialize the value. So similar may be possible with equal to operator, but different is not possible. So here what we are doing, A equals to 10, B equals to 100 and C equals to 1000. So there are three different values we are assigning. Then also it will get assigned in a Python. That is possible if you see and check. So now A, B and C are having what? A different value. That is called a simultaneous assignment in a what? Python. In a Python function, we are having one optional argument we call as an AND, right? In the above interpreter, as you have observed, so there are three print statements: print A, print B, and print C. I never use the new line function, the new line operator /n we call, right? In C we use, in other programming language also use. So I have not used, but the output is what in a new line, because A is printing in a first, then B and then C. There are three lines, output in a three line, not in a consecutive. So that new line operator is what by default added in a what print function. That is what the meaning, what I'm trying to say. Here also the three value 10, 100, 1000, all three values are get printed at 10, 100 and 1000. So the new line operator is what default argument here. So I can avoid, suppose I want to avoid that, मुझे नए लाइन में आउटपुट नहीं चाहिए, I want all the output in the same line. So see, the AND is what optional argument over here. If I execute, so A equals to what 10, right? So AND equals to uh, uh, double quote, and I'm not passing anything, right? So means what, I'm avoiding the default behavior of the print. Now you can see the behavior of that one in this next interpreter. So how it's work exactly. So print A comma and equals to double quote, right? So I am avoiding the new line. Similarly, print B and print C and. So you can see the output in a same line 10, 100 and 1000. So new line operators are avoided by using that AND. Okay, so that's what just formatting purpose. It's not needed. If I want to add the space in between the outputs, so that's a simple space. So point is what, the first argument is the mandatory in a print function. The remaining arguments are optional. If you don't use, then the output will be what, a simple one. If you need any formatting, so then we have to add the what other argument, right? The formatting purpose. So basically what we are using and others attributes to remove the what new line behavior. And that new line behavior is what the default behavior of the what print function that we are avoiding. Now see the very simple exercise here, right? What I'm doing, see, suppose we already done that exercise in a C programming, other programming language. Swap the two numbers, right? We know very well. We know the logics as well. So here in Python, you can do in a three line, right? All I can do in a one line as well. So see, there are two objects we define X and Y. X content 10, Y content 20. So Y comma X equals to X comma Y. So as you know, I already told you the multiple assignment. The different values can be assigned to different objects in Python in a single line. That is what single feature we are using of the Python. So the value of X will assign to the Y. Value of Y will assign to that. That's what simple swap. And if you go and print it, right? So let me execute and just see it. So after the swap, the value initially X equals to 10, Y equals to 20. Now after the swap, the value is 20 and 10. That's the simple swap in a Python. So what simple swapping the two variables in a Python. The Pythons are having data type, right? As in other programming languages, float, double, character, string, such type of character, this type of data types are there. So in a Python, basically it's offer the 5 different data types, standard data types. We call as a numbers, string, list, tuple, dictionary, boolean, right? So these are the few data types, and that cover everything. We don't need anything else, right? Because that's have a different representation. As I as I can say the list data type, right? About the list, third number. That list data type is a type similar as an array. It can be worked like a linked list. It can be worked like a tree. It can be worked like a queue, stack. Means all doubly linked list. All type of data types will be fit into the word list. So the one is enough to do all such type of operation. So let's see the all the basic data types with very simple example. So you will be get to know about it, how we can perform all such, how we can use it, right? What is the use of the different data types, and when we have to use such type of data types, and that is important. Let's see here first. Now, what I am doing here, suppose in other programming, in C programming languages, we have a scanf function, right? So whenever I want to take input from the users, I have to use the what scanf function. The scanf function will take the input from the user, right? So similarly, here is the input function in the Python. So you can put any argument, right? Enter your name, right? So let's see here. So it will take the input from the users. So you can see here, it will take the input from me, right? Just enter it. So now the MHB will be enter here and hello MHB that will be get printed. So value will be entered from that input method. So console will be open. It will take the input from the user and that will be stored into the what name. And name is type of what string. You can see image. So input function always return the what string, and that string will be stored into the what name, and that name will be get printed. Now, if I want to check the type of the name, right? So that's why I use the what type of name. We check it out. It will give the output as a what str. Str means what string. The name is type of string. So whenever you enter anything, it is always string. The string is better. It's a better options to everything take as in what input as in string. So later on you can convert, you can do the typecast into the string, into the characters, into the float, whatever, in whatever data type you want to be typecast, you can perform. But because the string can contain all type of data, right? So string will return the what the input method is return the what string, right? That is the what conclusion here. Suppose let's execute this one. The input is what enter your age. So definitely the age is what the integer type. The age will be, but the input method always return the what string. So age will be considered as a what string, not an integer. So when I'm going to use the age, I have to be convert it into the what other data type. So let's see first. So now let me enter the age, suppose 30. So enter your age 30 and your age is what 30. And if you check the type, so finally I use the what type of age. So type of age is also what str. So suppose I want to perform any operations. I want to add age. I want to add some number into my age, right? So then that is not possible because the string will get concatenate. I want to perform some addition, some subtraction. After 30 years, what is the age of my? So that 30 must be added, right? So then it will give me the what after 60 years, right? So that addition operation will not be performed over the what string. So you have to do the what typecast. We call it the what typecast. So now the simple thing, before the input method, you put the what int. Actually, we are having two ways, int and eval. There are two ways to perform that task. Okay. With the help of integers, you can simply do the what typecasting. Okay. Means your integer, means your string will be converted into the integer, and that integer value will be stored into the what age. That's it. And then you can check the type of the age. Now the type of age will be changed. See, now you can see here the output will come. So your age is 30 and it is a type of what? Int. Very simple. So because of that int, we typecast the what? The string into the integer. Now you can perform any operations over the integer. So then fine. Right. So similarly, you can do with eval as well as. See, I put the eval here. Eval is what? Evaluation. Evaluate first. So there are slightly difference in between. With the eval, you can do the evaluation of the expression, but int will not evaluate. So let me explain this statement. So first, that's a similar. Here is the int. Replace with eval, right? The output will be similar, and the type of the variable age object will be the what? Integer, right? Okay, so this all two inputs are giving the same answer, right? There is nothing changed. So what is the difference between int and eval? So see here, you can use this one. See what I am doing here. See here. Now I'm going to put 030, 030, right? You can see here the error. So what I have entered initially, I entered 3030, so it accepted, right? There was no error. But when I am putting 030, you can see here the output. It is not giving me the output, it's just giving me the error. So in Python, there is a default debugger, we call it a traceback, right? It will give the what, it will debug everything and it will be written what is the error. So you can see the error part. So invalid token, right? 030 is invalid token, right? But suppose in this case, if I use int and 030, enter it will accept. It will remove the 0 from the beginning and it will consider only 30, right? So int can do this one, but eval cannot do. So why we use eval, right? You see another interesting part, which is suppose if I enter 29 plus 1, so that is the what eval use. You can give any row uh, row expression, right? So that is the 29 plus 1 is the expression, right? It's performing the addition of two numbers. So but that we cannot pass into the int. The eval means evaluate first. So the evaluate means we can give the expression and that expression is evaluated and it will be converted into the what type. And type is what integer. So then we use the word eval. See, you can do that exercise, right? Create a program that asks the user to enter their name and their age, right? Similarly, we have used what input method. So I have to use the input method twice, right? The one for the name, one for the age. There are two objects we will use, name and age. And then print out we have to print out. The printout is what? A message addressed to them that tells them the year that they will turn 100-year olds. Right. When I will be 100-year old, so the years, right? So that you have to calculate with the age. So you can do that exercise. Now, I'm not going to discuss the solution over here. So you can do that exercise. The current year is what 2020. Suppose now your age is what suppose 20. So after 80 years, you will become the what 100-year old, right? So means what 2020 plus add 80 more years. So that's a year where you will be become what 100-year old. Yeah. See, let me quickly finish the list part, which is I have to be used in the other exercise. So then we can move to that part. Otherwise, we will not be finished it early. I will share it with the ma'am, so she will be circulate to you, and you can try that exercise. Let me go to the list part. String we know, right, very well. The list is quite interesting because whenever we perform the data analysis, because the COVID-19 data which I'm using, so there is what list type of data, so that will be helpful for you. Yeah. So Python list. So list is another sequence type defined by the list classes of the Python. That's what we call simply as an index. So similar as an array, we have other programming language, but array having lot of limitation as well as because the array is not heterogeneous in nature. It's homogeneous because in array you store one type of variable. It's maybe the integer only, maybe the float only, maybe the string only. But list is what heterogeneous in nature. You can store anything into the list, right? And that's a totally index. That's order, right? So on any of the index, you can access the what value. So let me execute this one. So suppose I'm declaring a list array maybe. So how we will declare the array? So here we are having very simple way. So L1 equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I execute this one, so it will be become, so all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be stored into the what L1. If you print L1, so it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Means we are making a array, a list of 5 element. The beginning with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The index. So index is always start with the word 0. Understand? So zeroth over the zeroth index, the value is 1. Over the 1th index, the value is 2, 3. Over the 2, over the 3, and over the 4. Okay. So index, this is the index, totally index approach. Suppose I want to create a empty list, right? The list without any element. So simply what L2 equals to square bracket. The square bracket indicates the what list. So all data types, how Python interpreter will know that is the list. That is not a dictionary, that is not a tuple, that is not a string, that is not a number. So for every data types, they are given the specific notation. So for the list, it's a square bracket. As you can see here as well as output. Suppose L1 we store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a square bracket, and L1 we are printing, so it is giving in what output in a square bracket. So similarly, the square bracket is a sign of the what list, right? So now we are assigning the empty list into the L2. Since there is no element into the L2, if you print the L2, it will not print, right? So that's the empty list. The meaning is what? The list without having any element. So when we need it, because it's an initial point, so I just declare the what list. So after the declaring, now I want that I am going to store some numbers into the list. So you have to be declare the list, right? Or maybe at a point of the executions, you can store the data into the list, right? So that is also possible. Now the heterogeneous nature of the list, as I talked. So you can see here in L2, now I am storing what? Initially L2 contain what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, L2 is empty. Yeah, in L2 is empty initially. L2 doesn't contain anything. Now I'm going to store something into the what L2. L2 is the list. So this is a string. So that's a string value, and this is what a number. So means what the string is, and the list is heterogeneous in nature. That is what indicate. Now if I execute this one, so it will execute. Now if you print the L2, it will print what the two values in a L2. Right. The one is what string value, second one is what a number value. So that all are possible, right? You can store the float value, you can store the boolean value, so there is no issue. See, let's execute this one. This is another way to create the list, right? The empty list. So list, the similarly what we use the int for performing the typecast. Suppose anything I want to convert into the list, so list is the what a method through which you can typecast. But here we are creating an empty list. without a square bracket. You can use the function as well to make the what empty list. It will create the list one empty list. Now in a list two, list of create the list with the element 22, 31 and 61. So now list 2 will be created. Another list having the string, another list which is having one string, but that string will give, it will get printed and all values will be what get indexed. It will convert into the what character. So let me execute this one. So now it's get executed. Now you print all the list 1, list 2, list 3 and list 4. So you will get the meaning of the interpreter. So now you can see here. So list 1 is empty, list 2 contain the number, list 3 contain the what? The strings, individual string, and list Python. This is only the one string which we have. So once we are going to convert into the what list, so the string will be converted to what character, right? And that features we use, that feature we use bigly in our programming. When we need to fetch the character, we convert into the string into the character. So that's the what simple way using the what list. How do we access the element in a list? Very simple. The index. The list 2 of 0. So list 2 is what containing 3 numbers, right? So I want to access the first number values, means indexing. The value, how we will get the value? So there is the index. So over the index, you will get the what values. Very simple. List 2 contain the what list 0 and that's contain the what 22. So let's say another one. The list 1 contains, so now initially list 1 is empty, so now I am assigning some number into the list 1, so that number will be get assigned. Print 2 in list 1, so that is the in and not in operator, whether it is present or not present, like that. So if it is not present, then it will return the false. If it is present, it will return the true, like that. In and not in. Length is the function, inbuilt function. Max is the inbuilt function. Min is the inbuilt function. Sum is the inbuilt function. It will perform all the operations. So all the inbuilt functions are there. You can see the output. It will perform the sum of the all number. It will fetch the maximum number from the list 1. So 32 is the maximum number. Perform the minimum of the, so that is the minimum. So for doing that, I don't know whether you are aware or not. So we have a bubble sort, selection sort to perform the sorting of the numbers. So highest number will be goes into the last, minimum number will come into the first. And in a C other programming language, we have to do the number of steps, the if condition and the for loop inside the if, and then you can get the word minimum element and maximum element. Otherwise, not. But here we have a inbuilt function of the list, which will perform the work, right? So that's what help to developers. This is the interesting part we generally use in pandas, right? So that we call it what um, slicing. So see here, there is a list which is declared with a number 11, 33, 44, 63, like that. So 0:5. What we are doing? We are doing slicing. We are getting the number from the 0th position up to the 4th, not included the 5th one. 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So up to 7 and 8 it will get print. So we are slicing the whole string, whole list. You can see here how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 एलिमेंट को हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, दो पार्ट में डिवाइड करें, दैट वी कॉल एज अ स्लाइस. So one list contain the element up to the 0 to 4, and the last element will be stored into the what? The SAM. So that's what we call as a slice. Another, suppose let me execute this. The next line, suppose list colon 3. So colon 3 means it's always start from the beginning. The last is never be included. We call as excluded. So 0, 1, 2 and 3. 3 means 66. But it will be stopped up to the what? 11, 33 and 44. So it will be stopped on 44. So that's again slice. We can slice from the beginning. We can slice from the end. So right. So the output is the list 2 column. So it will begin from the 2 go to the end, right? You can see here. It will begin from the second position, 0, 1, and 2, and then it will be go to the what last, because we have not mentioned where to slice up to the where to the to slice. So it will be slice the string up to the what end. Use it. The simple operation of the list. List 1 and list 2, you can perform the addition of the list, and you do the list 3. List 3 will get concatenate, right? So another list will be generated over here. You can see here. You can perform the multiplication operation in a list. So suppose the 1, 2, 3, 4 are the elements. So list 4 multiplied by 3. What it will be performed? It will make the copy of the list 4 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Again 1, 2, 3, 4. Again 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see here this multiply operator is having the what multiple functionality, right? We call it the operator overloading in other programming language. So that's having the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I want to make the copy of the what list. So how many times you want to repeat? You can give that number. Suppose you want to repeat the 5 times, you give the 5. Now you can see 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 times the same data will be repeated. Now how we can traverse the data, right? So very simple. We have a for loop, while loop, iteration, recursion, do while. So through which we will what iterate the data, index the element. You might be done the exercise like print the star, the different patterns example. So see here the for loop is very simple over here. There is no, I already told you there is no curly braces, right, in a Python. So how that thing will be managed? So that will be managed by the what indentation. We call it then what indentation. So colon indicate the what indentation over here. So for I in list column. So it will make the what indentation. Indentation means what? It will create a block. So now that print statement is inside the for loop. That is the meaning. We call as a block. So how block will be maintained? Because in other programming language, the compiler know the semicolon start, semicolon close means your data will be inside into that block. So for loop scope is what the opening and closing braces. So here there is no opening and closing brace, right? So how it will be maintained by the what in Python. So that's we call it the indentation. So blocking done by the word indentation. Once you will put the semicolon, automatically it will be give you one tab space. Indentation means what? One tab space. So this is exactly the one tab space which will be automatically added with this statement. So means this print statement is inside the for loop. So how we will declare the for loop? You can see here we are just going to iterate it. The list equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for I in the list, I is some object, in is the operator. It will check whether the element is present in the list or not present. List is already defined, right? So we are iterating I. We are iterating list by I. So the all element will be present in a list, will be iterated and will get printed, will be stored into the I. So for I in the list, so I is what we call is a temporary variable, right? I is what the temporary variable. So print of I comma and. So we avoid the what new line behavior. Otherwise, the whole output will come into the what in a separate line. So I want to avoid it. So that's why I put the word and without anything. So that space will be generated between the what element. Now you can see here the list is what iterated. So all element will be fetched and that will be what iterated. Now see help is the another functions of list. So if you put help of list, so it will give the all functionalities of the list. What are the different functions is included in a list, data types, all you can get and you can use it. Right, you can sort the data directly, you can, so that you can perform. Right, now I want to move to the next part. So I hope that is okay. So what I had planned for this, so that I hope this basic is enough. So you can recall the remaining data types similarly. You will get the idea. So now I am moving to the next part. So where I just created the scraper. So I have scrapped the how to perform the scrapping first of all. And the scrapping is a very important, I can say, the important features in Python, because the data is available on any website, any blog, from any document, and I want to store the data into my own format and perform the data analysis. So for data analysis, the first thing is what is scrapping. Without scrapping, you will not get the data in your own format. So that's a very important part first. So that let me execute how we can do it. So the very first library we need, as I told you, the because of the rich library available in a Python, that's why it's having good impact in a industry. So that request library is similar. As we know, the HTTP protocol, get, put, pause, these all are the methods. So we are using the same. So with the help of that request library, we can enable that functionality of our browser, and we can perform that accessing. So first, what I did, I need the request method, request protocol means I can say. So browser is our client. Through the browser, all the request will be goes to the internet, to the web, and then it will be performed. It will fetch the data. Another library which we are using, we call as a beautiful soft. Right. The first is the request library. Second is the what? Beautiful soft. The request library role is what? To fetch the any page. You can see here. There is a one static page over here, right? So that page just contain one statement. That's it. This is a simple page stored into the GitHub, right? The simple HTML page. This is a live page, right? So I want to access the data. I want to access that HTML page. So what I need, I have to be passed. I have to send the request to the what? Server. How the request will go. So using the request library. Get is the method. Get the data. So the get is the data because we are fetching. So I hope you check it out, the HTTP protocols. So there are few methods with the HTTP protocols. The get, put, post, delete, update, remove. These all are the methods. So we are using get to fetch the data. Very simple. So get the data from the website. So the website will be get open, and that website having only single line, right? So you can check it out later. Then we are using the word beautiful shop, and the beautiful shop we use, we are putting one object over that page. What it will perform? That beautiful shop object will be created, and that created object will check the object over the whole HTML page. So page dot content. So whatever the page will contain, right? As you can see here, request dot get, it will get the data from that HTML page, will store into the page. Okay, the whole data will store into the what page, and over that page we are putting the another object we call as a shop. We call as a beautiful shop is the what, the class. The object is what, the shop. That shop object will be created over the page content, and we are applying the what, HTML parser. So there are different types of parser. They are called as a JSON parser, XML parser. It depends on what type of the page. Suppose some APIs are available, so the API output in XML form. So you can use the what, XML parser, maybe the JSON parser. That depends on the type of. And the print shop.prettify. So that is the function to print the word shop. So it will be give the output look like. So suppose I'm going to execute this one. What is happen? It will print the what the page content. So see, this is the simple HTML page. So that page just contain a single paragraph. That paragraph is just here is simple content of this page. That is the simple message over that HTML page. That is the what, HTML page. The HTML page is hosted, right? If I go and put that URL into my browser, so then the simple line will get pop up, and that line is what, that, right? So what is the exercise? I am going to show you how to get that string. That's it, because that string is written in a paragraph. right? Once you will just execute that URL into the browser, so you will get that string. But that string is inside the paragraph. You have to fetch the paragraph, and paragraph is inside the body, right? So that is what the sequence, right? And you have to go by. So there is HTML is what root node, then the head node. Head contain the child node as a title. Head having a sibling as a body. Body having the child as a paragraph P, and then the P contain the data, actual data, and I need the actual data. So that we call as a scrap. We call is it what scrapping. So how these things work? So that's why I told you the list, because I needed the list. So whenever I need the scrapping, so whatever data will get scrapped, it is always stored into the what list form. So that's why I explain you the list fundamentals. So I hope the list is the data types, right? One of the data types like the array, but it's heterogeneous in nature, right? Is you can check the web page, can maybe contain the string, numbers, any type of data will be there, even in the image, audio file, video file, also there in any of the website. So that things you want to be captured into the list. So that list is the only the possible way. Let's move to that one. What I'm doing here, list shop.children. So it will fetch the children's, and type of the item it will check for item in the list shop.children. So see, the simple tree will be formed. As you know, the HTML is the root tag. Then there is a two child. One is the head, another one is body. The head contain the title, the body contain the paragraph. So that's a simple tree structure. So how many children are there? So that's a totally index. So whenever we are going to scrap it, so all the tag will be perform the what index. The head tag will be given the zeroth index. Similarly, HTML will be given zeroth, then head, then title, then the body. So that indexing will be done. And with that indexing, we are fetching the what input information. So that's so HTML. So list shop.children of 2. It will be stored into the HTML and then the HTML. So what I am doing simple, the HTML having 2 child. So that is what the index 2 given. So one for the head, second for the what body. So you can see here, once I'm going to execute and print the HTML, it will print the complete index, because there are 2 child for the what HTML tag. That's why it will going to print the what everything, right? You can see here the page here, all the information. So now what is the difference between this output and that output, right? So that is, this is just output of the page but not indexed, right? But now after performing that operation, the all tags get indexed. Now with the help of index you can access. Understand, in the list what we need the index to fetch the data. Without in array, suppose array having 50 element, I want to fetch the 50th element, you need the index of the 50th element. Then only you can access the data at the 50th position, otherwise not. So with the help of this, we are performing the indexing to all the tags, right? So now indexing is done. So all tag get the index. Now you can perform the what easily whatever operation you want. Now see here, this HTML.children. So now we are checking the HTML childs. Initially we are checking the shop.child. So how many children in the what scrap? HTML having 2 childs like that. List HTML.children at third position, and that is what the body. So over the third positions we are having the body, and that body we are containing into the, so from the list we are taking the third element, store into the body, and then print the body. Now you can see here, once I will go and print it will print only body, because we already fetched the what? We fetched the third element. Okay, you can see here the third element we fetched. So body only, it will showing the body. Basically what I want that text. How to go to that text. So that is the what simple exercise. So now I went to the body part. The first we scrap all the page, complete page, then HTML page. Inside the HTML, we went to the what body, right? Now body part is here. Now I want to fetch the child of the body, that is not the paragraph. Now you can see list body dot children. So list body dot children, from it list body dot children 1. So over the one index we are having what p means paragraph. You understand, that's what list inside a list. From the p I want to get the text over here. Only text I need. So get underscore text is the method and print the p, right? So once we are going to execute this one, so you will get the what the text, right? You can see here. Here is a simple content. So how? So suppose, so this is the a simple example through which we can scrap the data. So that website just contain only single statement, right? And what I'm doing, I'm fetching that. So I just break that exercise into the all the small parts. The similarly, you can do complete exercise into the one like that. If I run that, so I edit all this. First, you have to import the required library. You have to fetch the request to the particular page, then create the parser over the particular page, then perform the first child, second child, third child, and inside a child, the particular information which we are looking. So once I execute the complete script, we will get the what time output. I break it into the what step. So that is the understanding point of view. We never do like that. We do in a very simple way, right? Because we have a tag. In HTML is a tag based language, right? So over the tag, you can fetch the data, right? Very simple. So here you can see here what I did. The same thing I have done with a 2 line of code. So first create the object of the soft over the page. Then we are having, so this is the what we call as a regular expression kind of thing. So find underscore all p. So what we are doing in a given HTML page, we are fetching all the p's. So there is only one p as you can see, and that p will be what printed over here. So here is the what the content of the p. The simple. So now you can see the p here. So the same things we can do in a 2 line of code because the HTML is a tag based language. You can search right with the what tag. Find all is the method over the object of shop. Shop dot find all, which will find all the piece or the location and get the text from it. And then what will give you the word text over here. Okay. So similarly, the P is the one of the similarly we are having another tag. So once I will create, so suppose I have a class is another attribute. So from the P you can check the class outer text. Maybe the class of outer text. You can have IDs which we define. So similarly you can do right. So in a paragraph there is a class. Suppose I'm talking about this. I have a HTML page in a paragraph, right? The few information with the tag, there are few information. The paragraph, then the class, the value is what inner hyphen text, first hyphen item, and ID is what first. So similarly, you have to do the find for the specific, and then specific paragraph will be what fetch out. So this is the another page. Understand? This is the another page. You can see, and that page contains what that information. So we are fetching accordingly. If I execute this, right, so you will get the output. Similarly, we are having divisions in the HTML page. So then you can go accordingly. So that's another page, contain that information. Now, I will be end with the exercise with another example, right? And what is the example here? What I am doing, I have another big script over here, as you can see here. What I am doing over here, see, we are using a website forecast.weather.gov, another government website, right? with the help of that website, I'm just passing the latitude and longitude, right? So this is the lat long. So in a page, the very specific area was there. You have to to the location. It will give you the lat long, and then you can perform the weather forecast to particular lat long. So I just given that lat long over here. So that is my request, which will be passed to the user to the my server by using what request.get, right? As we did similar. So what I want to tell you, let me just put this URL so you will be understood what I am doing here. Uh, if I execute that URL, let me change the screen. See, that is the what URL which I'm using. So what is the URL over here? This is the last one. We are going to be finish it after it. So see, this is the URL forecastweather.gov. I'm using for my scrapping purpose. Right. I hope you can see it. So in it, I passes already the latitude and longitude. So that latitude 37.7777 and minus 122.416, that this is the latitude of the San Francisco, right? You can see here. So that is the latitude I'm using. The point is what I'm fetching that web page. So I have to pass the URL. I have to pass the specific lat long. So then only that web page will be appear. So once the web page will appear, right? What I have to be do? So that is the detailed forecast about the San Francisco. San Francisco is having on the location 37° north and 122° west, and that's the complete information you can see here. Okay, I want that information only for some analysis point of view. So I have to be scrap it. I have to scrap that information. I will store somewhere, and then I will perform somewhat analysis over it. Okay. Okay. Let's just finish it. So,
Yes, sir.
so
Thank you, sir. Giving a basic knowledge of Python and static website scraping technique. So
okay.
here the session is over.
Okay.
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 If
Thank you.
possible, please, you can mail your tutorial part, whatever you will learn, if possible.
Yeah.
Mail.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. No issue.
Okay.
No issue.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir. Thank you, sir, for
Thank you. Thank
delivering
you.
the knowledgeable part of. Okay, fine, sir.
Thank you.
Purun Jiten.